Hey there, comic book fans. I'm back from the comic shop again this week, and I just noticed my hat was hanging up here. It always is. I don't know why I've never noticed it hanging up there before, so I'm going to do this video with my hat on. This was actually, this is vintage. This was my grandfather's hat. I've been wearing it for years now. But, pretty big week for me at the comic shop. What is it, 6 new comics? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 new comics. But not a very expensive week. Well, more on that. But first we're going to show you this freebie. Just because I have no idea what this is. Near as I can tell, it's supposed to be some sort of War of the Realms calendar. Because it's got 31 days. This wheel is 1 through 31. With a bunch of symbols too. And then we have the months around there. So I imagine you're supposed to line up a wheel with a day of the month and it gives you a calendar. So I have no idea. If anybody has any idea what the heck this thing is supposed to be, what does it say in the back? Nothing, no clues. For up-to-minute news on... I really don't know what this thing is supposed to be. I assume a calendar. Let's see. Those aren't quite letters. We have an M for Monday, I thought, but then there's no T for Tuesday. There's an S for Saturday or Sunday. What is that? Anyone have any clue? Don't have any idea. But anyway, let's start with The True Believers. True Believers #1, The Avengers Nebula. I think this is an issue from, what's this, the late 80s? Let me see in here. Do we have a year in here? Avengers 260, which I think was, yeah, that was the mid 80s maybe. Roger Stern, John Buscema, and Tom Palmer. I have never read this one. I'd given up reading the Avengers by this time. So, but hey, for $1, I'll give it a read. And there's another True Believers, which is Thanos versus the Marvel Universe. And this is one of the issues of Infinity War. Is this the last issue of the Infinity War? I have never read the Infinity War because I'm a big fan of the 1970s Jim Starlin, Thanos and Adam Warlock. And Thanos died at the end of that. And that was such a good story to me. I never had any interest when they revived Thanos with this. I think it was this that revived Thanos, the Infinity War. But I just never... Infinity Gauntlet, pardon me. Infinity Gauntlet #4. But now I've like the first issue in a reprint. I've got 4 in a reprint, and I think 6 is coming out in a True Believers reprint. So I'll have 3 out of the 6 issues in True Believers reprints. So maybe one, you know, I'll probably read this issue just by itself, because that's how I've been reading the True Believers. I've been having fun just kind of going, whatever issue it is, I'll read it. I don't care if I've got the rest of the story. Okay, then we also got, so those 2 were only $1. Then we have the actual Roger #5, which is only $1.50. I still don't know what that title means. But I really enjoyed the first issue of this. I picked the first issue up on a lark because it was $1.50 and it was a slow week. It's got this weird coloring in it. I don't know how to describe this, except this looks to me like mid-80s indie comic coloring. I don't look how washed out he is, and I don't know. It just doesn't look like normal. Doesn't look like normal 1980s coloring. It doesn't look like normal today's comics coloring. I just find it really strange. It looks like kind of shot right from the boards coloring. But yeah. I enjoyed the kind of an all-ages comic about a kid who gets some superpowers and hijinks ensue. Don't know how to describe it except who does it. Story and art by Hank Tucker. I think they said he has something to do with superheroes humor is how it's... he had something to do with a TV show, I think. A cartoon show, so he's an animator of some sort. But really liked the first issue. I'm on board for all 5, especially at $1.50 an issue. Why not? You can get it. Okay. And then the third thing we got for cheap, only because it was free at the moment. Amber Blake. I don't know what this is, except Butch Geist draws it. I'm a Butch Geist fan, and Roy runs the comic shop. He said, those are returnable, so take one, and if you don't like it, return it. And if you like it, pay for it. So that's what I'm doing with this one. We'll give it a read. We'll see how it, like I said, Butch Geist has done some stuff that I think is masterful, like Ruse, when he did Ruse for CrossGen in the early 2000s. If you ever get a chance to look at Butch Geist drawn Ruse, it's just amazing stuff. And he's got other stuff that I don't think he loved as much, or didn't have as much time to put it, whichever. But this looks pretty cool, and it's magazine size. Feels like it might be a 40 pager. I don't know if they have page numbers. Let's see now. It's fairly thick. It's fairly substantial in terms of weight. So it might only be 24 pages. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yeah, I think it's a 24 pager, but it just feels a little more substantial. But we'll give that a read, and if I like it, I'll pay for it. I wonder how many issues are in it. I'll have to look that up. It's probably a mini. It's IDW, but I like these. I like the oversized stuff. It's pretty neat. Then let's see the two things. Let's start this thing up again because for some reason it just turned itself off. So we have Paper Girls 27 as we continue. I wonder why it would turn itself off. As we continue on our road to the end of Paper Girls, this is so there's this plus 4 others. I liked Paper Girls doesn't make any sense. It's a time travel story, but it's fun. There's a nice splash page. If you're not into Paper Girls by issue 27 and it's ending at issue 31, or 32 would that be? Let's see, 28, 29, 30, 31. It's ending at issue 31, so I have to count on my fingers. Then you're probably not into it, but it's a fun read. If you get a chance to read it someday, give it a read. I've liked these last 2 wraparound covers kind of best. They give you the half face on the one and the half face on the other. Ghost coming over her shoulder. They're all right. And let's see, the last one we got, 190 of The Walking Dead. And things are heating up in this. Oh, I still don't know what it's called. What's the name of this town? They found a bigger civilization, a city with like 30,000 people in it or something. But there's been, ever since they got there, Rick and the crew, there's been some unrest in this city, and they kind of don't like their leaders and are mad at their guys who are sort of polices. And there's been political trouble going on, and Rick is trying to diffuse it. He doesn't want it. He doesn't. I think in the last issue they asked him to help out, and he was like, "Ah," but he doesn't want any trouble. But this is a big place, and a lot of political trouble in it can cause real trouble. So all of a sudden, we don't want to show you too much, but all of a sudden, there's rebels, and there's the establishment, and there's just the people who are forming mobs, and it could be all sorts of trouble. So there you go. Oh, and let me tell you about the I just ordered some new True Believers for they're coming out in June. They're in the previews right now, but it's going to be Spider-Man month in June. So that what are they coming out with? Amazing Spider-Man #1, Amazing Spider-Man #13, Mysterio. Those are your 2 Ditko issues as True Believers. Then I think there's a couple of John Romita ones. There's 95, that's called Spider-Man in London. There's 101, which is the first issue of Morbius. Then there's 131, which is the marriage of Aunt May to Doc Ock. Then I think there's a couple of others I didn't order. Oh, I ordered there's a Todd McFarlane one, Spider-Man and the Hulk. I ordered that one. I think the ones I didn't order was Marvel Team Up with the first black costume, Spider-Man and, was it Wolverine? I don't remember. But the first black costume Spider-Man Marvel Team Up is going to be a True Believers. And there's a Spider-Ham is a True Believers too, first issue of Peter Porker. That'll be so order these right now out of your if you want some True Believers in June, order them out of your this month's April, or last month, I guess it is now, April previews. I thought it was pretty cool. I was getting a bunch of those Spider-Man ones. So I think there was a couple of others. There was The Secret of Spider-Man's Costume. I didn't read that one. That was like Spider-Man Amazing 257 or something like that. I guess we have found out that Spider-Man's costume was an alien. But anyway, enough True Believers. Let's look at some artwork. I got tons and tons of stuff piled. I got lots of stuff in different stages of finish. This one we just inked. This is one of my dreams of things that'll eventually be marker colored. This one's really open for color, so not a lot of black line in that besides the swooping. I was doing some of these tiny art cards. I liked the way this came out. Lots of nice color in that one. I also just did this one. It's again just a cartoon of a guy hanging out there. Like the way that one came out. And the other thing I did, let's see, was I'm working on a drawing. I don't know what this is going to be. If it's going to be one of my big drawings, if it's going to be 11 by 17 print, but this was one of my ink book sketchbook pages that I drew up. Lots of little faces. It's just one of these little interlocking drawings with lots of tiny things on it, and all of a sudden a big open space with a guy hanging out there. I like the way that one came out, even if I never ever figure out what I'm going to do with it. That happens sometimes. So yeah, I've just been piling stuff up on the easel as I finish it, and sometimes I like it when I get all the different sizes photo in the background. Every now and then I'll just take a picture of this right here, and like on my Instagram I'll send it out. Art by Osborne is my Instagram. There's a link down below if you ever want to see more of my artwork. But yeah, sometimes it's fun to have a wide variety of shapes, sizes, and finishes on the easel to look at. Okay, well anyway, you guys all have a good week out there.